my laundry out of the view.
Hello there, Internet. Welcome to what was going to be the first of the IWF's Sunday sit-downs, but as you can see, a slight deficiency of cast members.
The activity level is exceedingly low today.
Yeah, so Jen is away hockeying. Erica is D&Ding. Ember is ill, I believe. Chandler is too afraid of us to come on when Jen isn't around. Fair enough. Sorry?
Can't blame him.
No. But yeah, so we were going to have a chat about certain topics, but I don't think we'll bother. I think we'll just have a natter and maybe do some writing. I know, funny that. How you doing? You been all right?
Things are going well. Christmas is blooming lights everywhere.
Yeah. We're going away for Christmas, so we're not bothering with decorating because we just won't be here between Christmas and New Year. So it's a case of okay, let's just not bother.
Have you seen Christmas with the Cranks?
I haven't seen Christmas with the Cranks.
It seems a bit cool.
There we go. We've got somebody.
Apparently, I am a shadow person, and I don't know why my camera can't so I have to turn on some lights. I don't know. This is just the tone of my day today. Like, everyone's sick, my heater's not working, my camera won't pick me up. Like, hello. Hi, this is Ember entering with the swirl of chaos that is her life. Come on. Are you joking? I don't know what okay. The ring light? I don't know. Stand by.
Whilst you do that, we'll do the card, and I have got the King of Wands.
A cute little lizard.
Yeah, you would have thought if he's the King of Wands, he'd be a wizard himself, wouldn't you? King of Wands. So, if I could find it, that'd be helpful, wouldn't it? So, yes. So, King of Wands. Here we go. So the King of Wands represents pure fire energy in its masculine form. Unlike the other Wands court cards, the King is not so interested in creation and creativity or in dreaming up ideas and implementing them himself. Instead, he is more inclined to take an idea and then enlist others to help him actualize it. Thus, when the King of Wands appears in a tarot reading, it is a sign you are stepping into the role of a visionary leader, ready to direct your people towards a common goal. You have a clear vision of where you want to go, and now you are manifesting that vision with the support of those around you. Others naturally gravitate towards you because you are charismatic, focused, and determined, and they believe in you and your vision. They want to be a part of what you are manifesting and are here to support you 100% of the way. You are also masterful at getting other people to do your work for you while keeping them on side throughout the process. Okay. I don't feel very charismatic today, it has to be said. Oh, there we go. We can see Ember. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That must have taken a second. Hi, I'm alive. You know, Dan, though, that does, and I'm not saying this in a negative way at all. That does kind of feel like you are the one who is in the WhatsApp shepherding us together, making sure we stay on task, and like, you are charismatic, so just own it. There, I said it.
Just own
I think it's you. Just own it.
Just own it.
When I appear in tarot decks, I'm the Page of Pentacles. Otherwise, I would say maybe that's me, but it's not. I don't get other people to do shit for me. I'm the one who's usually doing shit for other people. So that's a question I haven't asked other people too. But let's stay on task. Gary, does that agree with your view of Dan, or did you take a different meaning?
I didn't think immediately of Dan, but it does fit. I was thinking of work.
You thinking of work?
Oh, of work. I thought you said Warwick. There's my son's best friend is named Warwick, and I was like, is there a Warwick in your neighborhood too?
No, there's not.
Well, one of my sons, when in his old school, there was an entire family of Warwicks there.
Is that a British name? I've never heard it before I met this kid.
It's certainly not an uncommon name.
It's a
Warwick
really
is a place. So if you if you're named Warwick, then odds are that's where your family's from.
But that's spelled W-A-R-W.
Yeah.
Okay. This kid I think is W-A-R-R-I-C.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a family. I don't know. Anyway, what did you take?
Was spelled Warwick properly once, and then there's how do you spell this again? Whatever.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people when they got to Ellis Island had their names changed just as a matter of, the desk clerk was tired that day.
Well, also the last 20 years of naming has been kind of rubbish.
Kaylee, spelled K-A-I-G-H-L-E-E-I-G-H-Y. Kaylee.
I'm sorry, what?
People are trying to get too clever for their own good.
Yeah, there's a lot of, Aiden kind of names. Jaden, Hayden, Caden, Braden, Maiden, Bladen, Smaden. I'm sorry, Gary, if there's an Aiden in your household.
There's not.
Good.
I was staunchly against that whole branch.
I don't like that naming convention. I apologize to anyone on the internet who was offended by that, but I just think it's kind of whatever that face is.
I don't see anything wrong with it, except for it's common and
it's so common.
I prefer unique.
Yeah.
Cool. So so how did you take the King of Wands? Tell us. Move on.
I mean, I've got a staff of 160 people that I've got to present my vision to. So.
So you're the King of Wands.
I've got to say, that's what I was thinking of when I read it. But if we're thinking of it for this particular project, aren't we all the King of Wands, getting our characters to do stuff for us?
That is true.
That is true.
I like that.
Anyway, that'll do. That's my piece.
Sorry.
So you say that everybody's getting ill. You're not getting ill again, are you?
Oh, my son. Okay, so little side story. My son went to grandma's house last night and we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. We were in the midst of a very exciting dungeon. I had charmed the boss and was making the boss kill everybody else. I thought you'd be very proud of me. I cast hideous laughter on all the people around the boss, and then I had charmed the boss, and I kept saying, like, they're making fun of you. They're having a go at you. And the dungeon master was like completely miffed because she hadn't prepared for this outcome at all. So we're all starting to roll for initiative and fight. And then I get a call from my mother, and it's like 10:30, and she says that Dexter's quite sick and she's bringing him home, and I can hear him crying and coughing on the other end. And so it was a rough night. We were up till like 1 a.m., but we got his breathing under control and didn't have to go to the hospital. But we're all a little under the weather today. I have a headache that I can't kick, and my throat's yucky again. And my husband's just really under the weather, and Dexter's still coughing, but feeling in better spirits. So we're gonna COVID test, and we're just laying low today. So it's just,
Well, you're on the internet where you can't contaminate anyone else. So
exactly. And it's December, so I don't have any projects that are outstanding right now, and I feel deeply for Jane, who's, if we haven't mentioned, going to be working quite heavily on her audiobook for the next few weeks, audiobook project, which is good. She's got work.
yeah,
As a freelancer who's opening up that avenue, I'm like, she's got work to do. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as
yeah.
I'm flying out of the country in a couple of this time next week, and I'm like, 2 weeks of that earning money, can't be done with it. No.
Knowing you, I figured you would have just set up therapy sessions from Portugal and did a virtual background and spoke to people in a closet.
Nearly.
would have been a good idea.
Yeah, but also I desperately need a rest. I haven't had a break from clients since
ever.
July? Was it August?
If you have to think about it that long, it's been too much.
It's true.
Yeah.
Listen to Ember. She has she makes all the points.
I just did a tarot reading for someone yesterday, interestingly enough, that brought up the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. The 10 of Wands, if you aren't familiar, is someone carrying a heavy load. They're carrying all the wands and they're like overburdened.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10 of Swords, of course, is the one that we all hate, where they're on the ground. And I pushed those two up because there were two other cards that came with it. There was the 2 of Pentacles, and I think, what was the first one? That one's not important. I mean, it was, but for the story. And I pushed the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords up, and I said, look, this, I think, actually is a warning. Here you've got the 10 of Wands, which is you right now, right? You're carrying all of this stuff with you. And here over on the far side is the 10 of Swords. Interesting that we pulled 2 10s, right? Interesting that we've got 10 items and 10 items. If you don't find a way to let go of some of the things that you're carrying, they're all going to turn into the swords and stick you. And she said, I know. This is what the cards have been telling me for weeks. And I said, okay, so listen to them. Because here they are again in your face telling you what's going on. She said, all right, take yeah, I'm always going to advocate for taking space for yourself. It's part of why I'm starting my own business, because I'm tired of people telling me I have to work over Christmas to keep the lights on and answer phones for whom? Things like that. I'm tired of being told, if I need to take a mental health break for a week or so, like, oh no, we still need you to answer some emails though. Like, no, dude, like I need a break. I need to take a real break. And I just think that, I would say the American work system, but it sounds like the Western work system is very like, nope, we're just going to keep, well, no, because Italy, but.
Yeah, fair play.
Sorry, when I worked internationally and I would call, the Swedish office, the Italian office, anybody else during the summertime or email them, I would get an email back saying, hello, I will be out for the duration of the summer. I will see you again in September. Please do not email back because I will not be checking emails. Greetings and good day, Hans.
That is not Italian, just between you and me.
That was the Swedes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You're like, Johan, anybody. Yeah, the Swedes would just all leave for the summer. Like, it's sunny out. Goodbye. So it's like, you go, Swedes. But yeah, the Italians were not too.
No, anyway. The Italians were, oh my God, it's too hot. I'm going to sleep. Bye.
Yeah,
one of my Italian interns said that Italy is just, it's only tourists during the summer. He's like, yeah, we all leave. It's all tourists. Sorry, Gary, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say the Americans believe that working is a moral imperative.
Virtue. The harder you work, the more, as you say, more moral, more virtuous you are as a human being.
Yeah.
Which, you know who came up with that?
The bosses.
Yeah.
certainly
So all that to
wasn't
say,
any.
Dan, huge
Yeah.
sidetrack, but yeah, take your break.
Oh
You know?
yeah, I know. I can't not. If I don't, there will be serious repercussions. There are already repercussions for me not having taken one earlier.
There
Well,
will
you
be blood.
have to help other people. You know, your whole goal in life is to help people heal, but like, physician, heal thyself. You know, you're not a physician, but you get the point.
Never heard of the wounded healer.
I mean, isn't that all of us?
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So, I think we decided that today was going to be a relatively docile evening because there's 50% of us here, and one of us is feeling rubbish. It's Christmas soon, so there's no point getting too deep into anything deep. So shall we just sit down and write, or do we want to talk about writing? Do you want to talk about life, the universe, and everything? Shall we sort out the problem in Israel? What we're going to do?
Oh gosh, yeah. Let's make peace in the Middle East. I think we can do it.
Well, if Donald Trump's son-in-law couldn't do it, I don't think anybody can.
I mean, that man. Yeah, we gave it our best and brightest.
Yeah.
We gave it.
but they refused to take it. That's the thing. If they kept it.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm keen to talk writing. I don't have much of a head for writing today, but I could always try a sprint.
No, if you'd rather, like I say, I'm just generally at the minute. Yeah. Interestingly, something happened to me earlier today, which hasn't happened for a while. Which was because I've said for a long time I want to write some fiction again, and but that's been kind of an abstract concept. Whereas today I was actually interested to write some fiction. Of course, that's kind of drained out of me as the day's gone by because it's now late and I'm tired and I had to go and fix a fence earlier, and that involved lifting concrete, and I'm not concrete lifting material.
Better you than me.
Yeah.
We're thinkers. We're not laborers. We're not built that way. We're nerds.
Well, you see, I'm annoyingly good at it when I do it, but I'm just not. just like I had to get a pickaxe and just beat away at something at a pile of concrete a foot or so underground. It's like,
oh man. I love using my pickaxe, but my back isn't there right now.
Yeah, my back isn't there right now, and my back will never be there. That's why it's a case of, well, might as well do it anyway then, because if I don't do it, nobody else will.
You know what? I think your back can be there again. I think it would take some physical therapy and adding in potentially, or yoga, creating movement in your life.
I've tried yoga. I've tried Pilates. I've tried every move. Any form of movement just makes it worse. I've tried everything under the sun.
I don't know. You're young enough yet that I think that you could do something to make it livable and to be able to. What I worry about is that you're already having so many problems, and then as you get older, it's only going to get worse.
Oh, I'm not going to live long. Nobody on my mum's side of the family has reached 70.
That's the spirit.
I'm well past the halfway point.
The audience is now depressed.
Hey, I didn't bring the topic up.
I apologize for suggesting that you do things to help your back. You're right. You're just going to break your back and die, Dan. All right.
Fair enough. But anyway, yeah. So, like I say, earlier on, I was interested in writing fiction. So I was like, oh, cool, yeah. And now I'm like, I'll do it later. But it's the first time I felt like that for ages. So that's a good sign. Yeah. I have been thinking, oddly enough. So Gary will remember a story. Was it a story? I don't know. A piece I wrote a few years ago about a man who walked into a town, kicked the living shit out of a few people, and then went and had a drink. I've started writing another story with that character, which will be pretty much exactly the same storyline. I'm just thinking, should I keep it that character, or should I change it to a female badass character?
You did that once where you took two. It was Belk and Kiros, right?
Yeah, two male characters, and then
made them a lesbian lover.
And instantly sold the story. Repeated it. Have you heard that one, Ember? Okay, so I wrote a series of stories about two characters, two straight male characters, straight white male characters. Sent the story out dozens of anthologies, magazines, websites, etc. No. So okay, changed nothing about the story apart from the pronouns and the names and all that. Changed the two lead characters to one black, one Indian-esque,
So South Asian.
lesbian couple. That was literally the only thing I changed. First place listeners out to said, "Yeah, we'll have that."
Here's the thing. You have told me this story, and I had to think about that. Continue. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's the whole story.
I think that there are a lot of stories about cisgendered white men being violent.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There's so much more to say when it is a queer and or BIPOC couple enacting that violence. Like, it changes the context of the violence. I'm serious.
I know you are. It's just the way you said it. It was just it's just the. It's all about who enacts the violence. That's what.
Well, because again, like, those stories have been done, and I don't know that it's like, I think that regardless of what you were saying and the nuance that you were putting through, which I'm sure was great within the story, like, if somebody's just seeing kind of on its face, it's a story. What?
There was zero nuance. It was there was a monster that ended up on the other end of a sword.
I don't know. So maybe the publishers who came across it once you changed some of those details were reading their own nuance into it, because this here is different. But what that story initially reminds me of, regardless of the genders, is Western era dime novels about Calamity Jane and Wild Bill Hickok.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's it called? Sword and Sorcery is just basically a Western story, but with swords and magic instead of guns. I write a lot of stories which are basically westerns. You could cast Clint Eastwood, I mean, as Bellick or Kiros, and Gary knows. Yeah, that I could see that.
Well, and classically,
miserable.
I guess not classically. Breaking Bad is like Western. It's a modern Western, and a lot of the the shots, the angles, the vibe, the feeling, the music, like. It's based in that sort of Western flavor, and that's, I think, part of what made it so enduring. Hi, Walter. I bet you'll never guess who my favorite character in Breaking Bad is. Give you 3 tries.
They're all amazing. That's the only problem, so don't give me that.
God, no guesses? Really?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I was too busy putting things back on my shelf. Sorry. See, Flynn.
No. Who's your favorite?
She scoffs.
What was the sister-in-law's name? Not her then. Okay.
Her name. Oh, Marie.
Marie, yeah.
Why would Marie be my favorite?
I'm
I
not
mean,
actually suggesting anybody how I think is going to be. I'm just because it would be
no, I'm curious.
hilarious.
So you tell me yours, and I'll tell you mine.
Oh.
It's troubling that you don't just have one, but we're different people. That's fine.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it in ages. Probably Saul. Saul was hilarious.
Oh, I love Saul. Okay, Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Yeah, sorry. Yes. I was amazed when I saw him in Eddie Izzard. What was the thing he did? Beverly
I
Hills
don't know.
Cop.
Oh, Eddie Izzard did Beverly
No,
Hills Cop.
Mike. The actor who played Mike was in Beverly Hills Cop. He was one of the bad guys in one of the Beverly Hills Cops.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was just like, is that him? No, what? Yes, it bloody is. I mean, because obviously 30 years before, so he was actually
right.
not
Oh,
old.
okay. I just love a character who's hyper competent. That's something that I'm drawn to. My favorite Star Wars character is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it's always the hyper competent, sort of wise character who's cautioning the more hot-headed character against something. So
That bit
So,
where they tell where Walt goes, I'm the guy who killed Gus Fring, and just looks over at Mike, and Mike goes, doesn't say anything.
well, Mike says, just because you killed Jesse James, don't make you Jesse James, or something like that. You killed the big bad doesn't mean that you're that guy now.
Yeah.
You got lucky, dude. That's what I always loved about Mike, is that he was just so nonplussed by everybody and everything. It's just cute.
I do write a lot of characters like that who just are just perpetually grumpy and just I don't know where it comes from. I've got it remains a mystery, especially to the people who know me well. But
Yeah,
That's interesting. I'm sorry, Gary. Go ahead. You've been quiet.
Now let's get back to the autobiographical nature of our characters.
That goes back to like, don't self-insert, but really like what you do as a writer is self-insert. Like that's you're writing from your experience.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not writing people who are like, so this lady is a short brown-haired nerd. Like, no, it's not. I'm not doing that. But my characters tend to be melancholy. They tend to be jokesters. They tend to be romantics. They tend to be idealistic, and so I have such a hard time writing villains because I can't fathom people who truly want to do harm. I can't. I don't like without making them silly, without making them like just like a comic book villain who's like, I'm gonna destroy the world because I want to. Like I don't. I have to think really deeply about what would cause somebody to be that disenfranchised from other people, to not have any sense of altruism, or I don't know.
A lot of times it's just that they think they are doing the right thing and they're really not.
Like Kissinger. Actually, I heard a nuanced take on him where his politics were, like sometimes he made choices that were very harmful and sometimes he made choices that saved a lot of lives, and he was a pragmatist to his core and somehow was able to make decisions that ended in deaths. And so, you can't paint him necessarily with a 100% villainous brush because he did do these other things, but he was a weird dude. And I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Well, a lot of people can do that. I had a chat with a gentleman who I'm friends with. I'm not sure I'd say good friends, but I get on really well. And he was talking about the whole, just to bring up Palestine and Israel again, and really just ended up going down the whole, well, if it costs fewer lives to do X than Y, then surely he'd be okay with X. And it's that kind of thinking that leads to acts of evil, because what is an act of evil universally? Most acts are good in the eyes of somebody. It just depends which side of the story you're telling it from.
We could really own. Sorry, go ahead, Garrett.
Oh yeah, go.
I was gonna say we could really open a can of worms here about the morality of taking a life to save other lives. It's the trolley.
It's the
trolley car
problem.
thing. Yeah, the trolley problem. So it depends really on how you view things.
There is actually a really funny card game called, I think it's actually called the Trolley Problem, or something like that. Basically, it's just 2-player game, or 3-player. No, yes, 3-player game, and one person is in charge of the trolley, and they just basically sit out that round, and then the other 2 players have got to put there's a train that splits into 2 tracks, and the other 2 players have got to place cards down on either their track or their opponent's track to convince the 3rd player to go over down their opponent's track. So it's like, you can't run on my track, it's got a baby unicorn on it. And so you can't go down my track because it's got a school bus full of children on it. Oh no, but you've got to go over his train track because it's got Vladimir Putin and he just said something nasty about your granny on it. It's insane.
I feel like that game would give me anxiety and existential dread at the same time. Like, I'm not sure I would have fun.
I've seen a lot of just spins on the trolley problem, and some of them are just deliciously absurd.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole taking things seriously versus, you know what, life is ridiculous, embrace it.
It is absurd. It's,
Sorry, I just took some tablets and they're still in my throat. I'm just going to get a quick glass of
Oh,
water.
I hate when that happens. Oh. Gary, I'm sure you can empathize too with having to explain like death to small children. Like, if you see an animal eating another animal when you're out on a hike or something, and then you have to be like, well, that animal's not evil. It has to eat to survive, but it killed the bunny. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. The current thing is in our household is pepperoni.
Oh no, pepperoni comes
Why is pepperoni evil?
Because my kid just discovered that it comes from pig.
Yeah,
I don't want to eat it anymore, but you love it. But it's from a pig.
Yeah, I just brought up to Gary that we're exploring the morality of death and life through our children because they're discovering that other animals have to kill animals to eat, and we have to kill animals to eat. And that doesn't make us evil. It doesn't make the animals evil. That's just sort of a weird circumstance of life. And
talking about that, so the food chain, obviously. I'm normally quite good when I get a lot of calls from my kid's school because he's a little me, except he's a little me and he has friends. And normally I'm very sympathetic to the school. I'm like, no, you've got to discipline him. Whereas one time where I lost my shit, my absolute shit at these people, was I got a call from my son's school and said, "Hello, Mr. Hand, we'd just like to talk about your son's behavior." Oh, okay, well, what's going on? Well, we were in science and we were looking at the food chain. Okay. And I asked the question, I asked your son, can you give us an example of a predator? And he said, my uncle. And I'm like, mate, that's hilarious. And you're calling me on that?
Were they concerned perhaps that he was like...
No, they're just teachers, and teachers react. Because I burst out laughing. I said, excuse me, what? You wasted my phone, don't you? Yeah, I yeah. It was not that teacher's best day, I don't think.
Bless the high school and middle school teachers. My husband is a middle school teacher, and I'm always just like, how, why?
More to the point, why?
Someone has to. He gets along with kids that age. He gets them. He gets them in a way that is very empathetic. I'm good with one-on-one, but a whole room of tweens, and I'm just like, I can't deal with y'all.
I didn't get
No.
them when I was that age.
No, see, right? I was, yeah. Yeah, I was bullied mercilessly. So I'm like, no thanks. I would not like to go back to that time, that phase. You're all my size. I'm not bigger than you. This is bad.
Yeah, no thanks. My hats off to the middle school teachers out there.
I would actually rather teach high school. Like, I think by high school, kids are chiller. Like, I would love to be a high school English and drama teacher in another life, but, you know. Yeah.
No, yeah, I trained to be a teacher. Came away from my training with considerably less respect for the teaching profession.
Really?
Really, yeah. Growing up, I was one of the, like, I come from a rigid background. You believe that the teachers, your elders, they are the fount of all knowledge. You've got to, etc. Then I went and trained. I'm like, these people are thick as shit, and they're teaching our children. Jesus Christ! Okay, I'm no, so I'm out. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing with every single career path, though. You're gonna have the bag of hammers, and you're gonna have the.
And sometimes the bag of hammers is your boss.
Yes, sometimes.
And they've gotten there just somehow.
Stayed around long enough, outlived everyone else.
It's the Dilbert principle, isn't it? The most useless people get promoted out of the way where they can do the least amount of damage.
Somehow, or they fail up somehow, or they just get lucky, or they take credit for other people's work. Like, it's banana crackers to me how some people manage to just be what they are. Like, oh. I had somebody who perpetually made my life harder, and I was always just like, how has nobody called you on this? Like, you make it impossible for me to meet my deadlines because you are never on time with anything, and yet somehow you are paid 3 times as much as me, and you're in charge.
Hey, Kraken.
Kraken's here.
Yay!
We can use that as the spin on the villain.
What, Kraken?
No, well, I mean... No, just the incompetent that got to a place of power and doesn't know what they're doing.
That
everything up.
Actually, that is the villain in my story, or one of them. Oh, you're a good Kraken. I have a king who didn't want to be king.
You're the best Kraken. We've all seen that little clip you put up.
Sorry, we're
yeah, but and from that individual's point of view, as obnoxious and unpleasant as they are, they're not the villains of their story.
No.
Oh, I was the problem because I wasn't accommodating them.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to work until midnight to get their shit done. Because I had a small child and a life and mental health issues that I need to address by, sleeping. Yeah.
There's an RPG that I'm going to play with some other therapists at some point next year, called Wicked Ones, where basically, most RPGs, classic RPGs, you're a party of adventurers, you go into a dungeon, you kill the monsters, you get the treasure, repeat. No, Wicked Ones, you're the monsters who live in the dungeon, and you're trying to stop these adventurers from invading your home and getting your shit. And, so in that game, the adventurers are the bad guys.
This reminds me of a Tumblr post that I saw years ago. that basically outlined how you become like a boss in a dungeon. And it starts with, like, a villager comes and steals your shit, so you put a trap outside your door, and then they come and try to steal it again, so you dig a tunnel, and then, it just keeps getting more elaborate, and it's like, congratulations, you are the boss now. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god! And you're just trying to protect your shit.
Yeah, that's all it is.
This is helpful. This is honestly helpful as a writer to just talk about these kinds of, like, character dynamics and things that are stumbling blocks for us as writers, like, for me, villains. I don't know why, I guess, because I'm an innocent. But yeah, I like that. Like, flip the point of view, and suddenly they're actually just protecting their home from invaders.
See, the one,
home.
the
You didn't want
ones-
to fall in a spike pit. You shouldn't have come in my dungeon. I know it's there. I didn't put it
And
there
you-
for you. You wouldn't have fallen in it if you hadn't invaded my home.
I've just watched Blue Eye Samurai, if anybody's seen that, and that's got a lot of spike traps and stuff. It's really good. It's
I do need good anime suggestions. I haven't watched
well,
anime.
it's not
in, like,
anime,
newer-
it's American.
not?
But,
Oh,
but it's anime style. It's like Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's
Right.
not anime, but it's an American attempt at anime.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's very violent. It's really good. I really enjoyed it, but
Very violent. For
yeah, I didn't realize I'd said the same thing twice there. Sorry.
Blood and guts.
Yeah, lots of full frontal nudity, though, which is weird in animation
Cartoons.
because they haven't yet made it look not weird.
It's
And when I say
weird.
lots, I mean not lots. It's that was massive exaggeration. The fact is, there's some, so therefore,
Yeah, that there's any feels like
Yeah.
a lot to me. It's like, did I need to see that penis? Like, I didn't really
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
seeing penis today. It was,
and
I always
Yeah, so
feel
no,
when
there-
I'm
there-
watching Game of Thrones, I always felt like, oh god, like what?
yeah, put it. Oh
Okay,
Jesus, no,
let's
put it
think
away.
about
So no, there isn't a lot, but the point is, there's some, and it just in an animation just isn't to the stage where it doesn't look a bit weird. So thankfully, it's never. I mean, obviously, it's gratuitous in the sense that it didn't necessarily need to be there at all, but it's not.
Yeah.
It
It's a
doesn't
choice.
outstay. It's not
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, but it's what is the point I'm making.
Choices were
Fair.
made.
Choices were
Yeah.
made, and yeah. But no, I really, it was actually a lot better than I was expecting it to be.
Kraken said they had some suggestions for me.
Oh,
I haven't watched anime in 1,000 years. Like, I'm so behind, and the kids are watching all this new stuff, and I'm like, it's too much for me to sort through. Just tell me what's good.
so
I
I'm
like
trying-
Seven Deadly Sins, but I kind of got over the sex pest behavior of the main character. I don't know. I haven't watched any Avatar stuff.
So I don't know if it has. Does it? If it does, it's off. I don't recall it. Though I mean, Legend of Korra was a lot more grown up than Last Airbender, but no, there certainly wasn't any on-screen sex or anything like that. There was some darker topics covered, but certainly nothing adult per se.
I've always questioned the terminology adult film. It's like, really, it's not an adult film. It's a teenage fantasy.
yeah, exactly.
Adult film would imply that it's actually got some meat and plot. And,
Well, there's plenty of
Like
meat.
Oppenheimer's an adult film. It's a film for adults. It's not going to be interesting to children in any way, shape, or form.
Just haven't seen it.
I was supposed to watch it this morning because my son was going to be gone, but instead we're all homesick.
Yeah. I'd rather have the twisted themes and brain racking than the teenage fantasy any day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Korra was. I for some reason Korra gets a bad rap, but then probably because it
By
wasn't.
who?
well, because people who liked the original series and just wanted more of the same thing, whereas I really thought Korra was excellent.
That's
I
the
think I
problem
hang out with a disproportionate number of queer people because all I hear is that Korra's the best.
Oh, right. No, because, yeah, I think Korra is the best, personally. Hence why, because I mentioned that Wicked Ones game that I'll be playing sometime next year. The first game we're actually going to play is going to be the Avatar RPG. Yeah.
Oh.
So, you know, it's...
The product placement in this stream is always
coming from me, right?
You know, Dan, you could actually reach out to some of these organizations and ask them about partnerships. That's something I can help you work on if that's something that's interesting to you.
Wouldn't say no.
Whereas I've got a lovely bag of lemon candy.
That looks delicious, actually. It looks like high quality.
It's locally made.
Yeah, that looks like a local label. I love that stuff. I'm hoping to work with more people like that who are like small entrepreneurs who just are trying to expand and are like, I'm doing good. I just need somebody to make labels for me. Or
yeah.
Eventually,
okay,
yes. Watch us as we try to finish novels. I had an idea for us for 2024 and part of our, what are we doing question. What if we, in the spirit of what we were trying to do with the month that shall not be named, what if we found writing contests and came together and like wrote submissions for them and shared that out with, the community and sort of created this little community of like, we're entering short stories or fiction contests because it's hard to find lists these days. So it's like, once you find it, it would be helpful to like, we can each try to find them and share them out and write towards them. And when I was boothing yesterday, I had a short story that I, won an award for like out. So like people could see like, oh yes, this person is a writer. And I was like, I should enter more short fiction contests because that was one, easy for me to do, and two, I won. That was cool. So
my only concern with that is that a lot of contests require money.
Do they really?
Oh yeah.
How much though?
I don't know.
Like a small entry fee is fine. Like I don't mind paying a small entry fee. It's but I would love to start working towards doing more of that and spending time on that as part of my writing journey. Because I think that that's part of how you get recognized and get published and get your published works more noticed. And, if you're in anthologies or online and your name's floating around out there, people can look at you and go, oh, they wrote a book. Well, I liked this short story. I should read their book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I've been deep in the marketing mindset since yesterday's boothing. That was like an 8-hour
But see, the weird thing though, Amber, is when you wake up and you realize, hang on, I've actually got an Amazon page. What? How? Huh?
I know, that's exciting.
So is that book right over there behind you?
Well, no, yes, but it's also all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
How many?
There's a picture of you and a bio, like.
Yeah, all the stuff, and it's just like, ugh, really? I've done all of that. Ugh.
Why is it that noise though? Why is it not like, yay, good for
it's
me?
Terrifying. It's like, oh my god, when did all this happen? When?
Last year.
I'm telling you, I think you're on the precipice of something really cool. Like, I think that you are making a lot of good stuff happen, and I'm just like I could do it. I can do the thing. I can make my thing happen. It's freezing in here. I'm so pissed that my heater's down today. Like,
whereas I've got a radiator behind me that we've had, well, first my parents, and then I've had since 1982.
Don't brag. If only Gary lived closer, he could probably switch out the control panel in no time.
This is my heater.
Oh, I've got that going in the living room for Dexter right now. He's under the heated blanket. Yeah.
It's supposed to snow tonight.
Oh my god. I'm jealous, but also I'm not jealous, given that it's, not snowing here and I'm still freezing.
Yeah, it's raining right now, so it's not going to be like a fun snow.
Ooh,
No, it's going to be icky, is it?
a slushy snow.
Yeah.
I mean, we should potentially either, I mean, obviously not today because we've only touched on it and going to call it a day in 10 minutes or so. But that conversation about how do you write villains or what do you think makes an interesting villain would be good to return to.
That was one of the topics on our list.
Was it?
It was.
Yeah.
But it's something I struggle with too, so I clung to it because I was like,
I've read the list, honest.
It's one of my favorite topics, though.
Okay. What was I going to say? Yeah, because I think the villains I think I'm good at two types of villain. One is just the faceless horde of enemies who get sliced to pieces, and the other is the disappointing relationship. As in, it doesn't necessarily have to be a betrayal, but it can be a betrayal. Just somebody you thought you could count on, you can't.
letting you down.
Yeah.
So a villain in like a smaller micro sense, like within your life, this person is a villain.
Hi, it's me. I'm the problem.
Well, I didn't like to say, but
Well, that's like I wrote that in my short story. It was from the perspective of somebody who was leaving a toxic relationship, and from their perspective, the other person was villainous, but painted with sort of a softer brush, but still the antagonist of the story. Like that's easy for me to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I definitely think there's at least an hour's worth of conversation about.
Oh God, an endless conversation.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear Erica and Jane's take on it too, and Chandler potentially if he's gotten that far in his writing. But it sounds like also Dan's going to be gone soon.
Yeah, so I'm going to be away. Well, I'll be here next week, but I'll be flying out the morning after. So it depends on how I feel if I'm up to it. But regardless, the next Sunday after that is Christmas Eve, and I imagine people will have things.
Not happening Christmas Eve for me.
I've got Christmas Eve plans, and
then
I don't typically do anything for New Year's Eve because I have a small child and I don't drink, so there's not really a whole lot for me to like.
Yeah.
But then, oh no, my birthday's on a Monday, so I don't do anything on Diana's birthday eve. That's not a thing. So.
And so New Year's Eve we land. So I'll be back. I might be able to do this then.
Would you be human?
That's the question.
Let's not do New Year's Eve. I imagine other people will have plans, and maybe I will miraculously come up with some. But what if?
At time of day on New Year's Eve, probably don't have plans, but Dan's probably not going to be human.
And Erica D&D's every Sunday, which I completely forgot, or
every other
Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was the week that's the problem, because if we were to do something on either a Monday or a Friday, she'd be able to make something happen on a regular basis. But it's just we weren't
planned for that.
Yeah.
I have to try to plan also for Dexter to be home sick tomorrow. So I had suggested that we meet up tomorrow, but now I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work out. I'm just thinking with Christmas coming up, do we want to just call a break, and then reconvene in January?
I was going to potentially suggest that simply because it's 2 weeks. well, 3
Well,
weeks.
and people are going places and doing things, and they've got shopping and parties, and not everybody celebrates Christmas, or if they do, they might not celebrate it day of, or you do a Christmas Eve, or you do Boxing Day, or I don't know. I had a boss who was really into Boxing Day, which I didn't really understand, but yeah, given the classist implications of Boxing Day, I was like, okay, so this is the day that you give your servants all the crap you didn't eat on Christmas, and then they go have a holiday? Cool. Nice chat. Yeah, she's a dual nationalist, so she has a lot of like odd, rich British family, I think, and
well, it doesn't even have to be rich British family. As Terry Pratchett once said, you just do one thing once and then you do it again, and suddenly it becomes a tradition. And a tradition is just a thing you do, and all the things that you have done. I forget what the exact quote was, but it was, the tradition doesn't necessarily have to come from anywhere. It just kind of happens.
Doesn't reflect that she thinks it's important to take the day off because her servants are busy.
You never know.
She gave her servants shitty Christmas. They had to work Christmas so you can have the leftovers and go have a shitty Christmas at home.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I will never forget the day that I learned what Boxing Day was, and I was like, "That's awful. Why are you doing that?" Sorry, just bothered me. Oh, Virgil, you've been such a good servant. Here, you can have the rest of the roast and go home for the day. Back to your cold hovel. Have an extra lump of coal. Good chap. I'm sorry. I'm done. I will not do it anymore.
I've never met anybody called Virgil, it's got to be said.
Really? Huh.
I mean, there's Thunderbirds, and Thunderbird 2 is always my favorite, so, Virgil flew that.
Is Virgil one of those names that only appears in fiction, like Jack?
Oh, no, I know plenty of Jacks.
That's my husband's name, too, so I can't really be that. But you don't, it's one of those weird names that's just all over fiction. I don't know why. Okay, so are we calling a break as of today, or are we going to try to meet sometime this coming week just to
I think we potentially call it a break officially, but we will drop in if we can be asked at some point. So, for example, if we want to do tomorrow and we feel like doing tomorrow, yeah, let's do that.
All right. I mean, we're in pretty good contact on WhatsApp, and Kraken, do you follow us on the social medias? Are we able to be in contact with you about when we start streaming back up again in January, or are you just going to look out for notifications because you follow us on the Twitch and that's plenty?
Are we even on the socials? I don't know.
Well, we each have our own. I've got Instagram and TikTok if people want to connect with me personally. I'm gonna start my streaming actually over the Christmas break because that seems like a good time, like my own individual streaming. So you can catch me on Twitch at Robots and Magic as well if you want to connect. First game is not going to be Dragon Age because it's not on PS5, sadly. So we'll have to go back to the drawing board on that. But I will be starting a game and finishing it.
So when you're streaming, you say you're going to be playing games?
Yeah, game streaming. I got my capture card, and I was gonna set up today, but I'm feeling too crappy, and I don't want to be in here because it's cold. So I'll probably have to do with that like next weekend when my friend can kind of be online with me and help me get everything specified. And now that I don't have the booth looming over my head, I can spend a little time this week working on my overlay and all that fun stuff and doing all the graphic design shit that needs to get done. So it's coming along slowly. I keep promising it.
Yeah, see, I'm going to be doing some, as I say, some actual play stuff next year, and I think the big job there is going to be finding a time when everybody's available to do it.
And you're going to be streaming tabletop RPGs on Twitch?
Probably not Twitch. Maybe Twitch, maybe.
Okay.
But we'll
I have
see.
some text solutions that might help you out with that if you need. So just to make it more like visual for people and stuff, but you probably already have. I'd watch it too. I want to see. I'm curious. I'm really curious about the implications of RPGs for people healing, because I felt like last night was healing for me somehow playing D&D. I want to dive more into that.
Well, I mentioned I was at Dragon Meet last week where I gave a seminar. That is now up on my YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to go and not much danger of me beating the next critical role.
You know what's funny? I tried watching that YouTube video and it was choppy. Like there wasn't the video wasn't moving. It was just images, like still.
Oh yeah, no, that was because it wasn't a video. It was just audio.
Okay, I thought my computer was having a fit, so I was like, I'll come back to this later.
No,
okay, I'll just listen to it. I bummed. I wanted to see you moving around in real life and not just like your head.
We'll work on that next time. No, so the problem was so I took my camera and videoed it, but the sound wasn't very good, and there were reasons. I thought about there were reasons, but hopefully next time. I've been invited back to do more. So there will be a next time.
You're gonna do more, and you're gonna come to San Diego.
Hopefully, if we get it. San Diego
road trip.
Yeah.
A long road trip.
We're in the car singing show tunes. No, I'd probably fly.
Yeah, it's kind of a wet road trip for Dan.
Yeah, I'll say I'll make sure I bring my armbands.
No, I would road trip down and see you. I would go to Comic-Con for the first time ever, even though I live here. San Diego's like another country, practically. Like, it's like you flying to France, you know?
Flying to France is 40 minutes.
San Diego might be an hour. I don't know how long that
people swim to France.
So I've heard.
Idiots. Why the hell would you do that?
I got to go under the little tunnel.
What, you went under the tunnel?
I got to go through the little tunnel that goes to the big clock over in Greenwich.
Big Ben.
No. The world clock in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I got to walk through some creepy tunnel thing, and then it's like, surprise, you're in Greenwich. It's cool.
Sorry, Kraken. No, I don't think we will. Not today. Largely because I think we're all flagging.
Yeah.
I think we're going to call it day today.
Yeah. But I do have theories about who killed JonBenet Ramsey, so we'll come back to that another time.
Was it me?
I'm kidding. I don't even actually know the whole JonBenet Ramsey story because it's just become so blown into another world.
That's a super local thing here. Like everyone, when that was going on, this whole DC area was just like.
See, I genuinely don't have a clue what anybody's talking about right now.
I feel like, yeah, that was early 90s, right?
Yeah, it was like a pageant kid who was murdered in her own home, and
yeah,
you know, it was a big national news story in the United States, and all there's tabloids in the grocery store to this day that claim to have new information on the case, because I guess is it unsolved, or is it just that it was not solved to people's satisfaction? I forget.
I haven't looked into it in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would be surprised, Kraken, if you hadn't heard about it, but you are not in the U.S., so maybe it just didn't make national news for
age of 6 years old. So 6-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When?
1990.
She was born in 90, so 96.
Oh, 96.
On the East Coast.
Oh, you're on the East Coast. Okay. I don't know why I thought you were in the UK. Most of our viewers seem to be.
96, I'd have been back with more.
Yeah, I don't know. why it was so tabloid foddery. I guess because people were all acting suspicious. The parents were acting suspicious. Stories weren't adding
People not
up. She
liking
was a pageant star, so she was a beautiful little blonde girl, and you
Yeah.
know,
No.
yeah. But to this day, people are still like, I think the parents did it. Ah,
Because we've got something similar as a young girl called Madeline McCann went missing in Spain, and that was got to be the better part of 20 years ago now.
People still talk about it.
Yeah. Every now and again, so, oh yeah, the police have reopened something, but it's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And there comes a point where it's like, I don't think we're going to get justice. The physical evidence is far gone, and unless somebody.
In this case, they cleared the whole family because the DNA evidence was from someone not of the family.
Oh, that's right. There were other icky parts of that case that we won't get into here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's.
Sure, Kraken, you can move over here. The weather's not great.
Bad food, worse weather.
The houses are small. And the food
I do love a Cornish pasty, though.
Depends what's in it.
Depends what's in it, but yeah. Generally, that was my. If we had to get lunch when we were on that trip, that's what I would go for. I'd go find somebody doing Cornish pasties and be like, hell yeah!
Pastry and meat. Where can you go wrong?
Well, I got a sandwich my first day on the hoof, and it had butter on it, and I was like, never again.
Really?
Never again.
I might have had butter.
Yeah, why? That's not what you. No, we do not put butter on sandwiches, Dan, unless it's a grilled cheese, and then yes, but otherwise, no.
So why would you bother? Why would you put butter on a grilled cheese? Because
you butter the bread so you can fry the bread and melt the cheese in the middle.
Yes, dear.
Grill it.
I'm with this one.
That's the only time a butter belongs on a sandwich. I got that turkey sandwich and I was so upset. I was like, there's butter! There's butter on my sandwich!
Well, because Cornish pasties, they used to be both savory and sweet at once. So you had meat on one side and then a fruit or something on the other. So you had lunch and dessert in the same.
Just give me two. Give me two smaller ones. Oh, yuck. And on that happy note, I suppose we should wrap.
Yeah, because as soon as we start talking about British food, we just need to stop talking.
Everyone gets nauseated and has to. No, I'm kidding. I actually generally enjoyed the food. What was funny was that because we were American students, all the restaurants that we went to had like meals prepared for us, and we got to have either hamburgers or Caesar salads. And I was like, is that what they think we eat? Is just hamburgers and Caesar salads?
Isn't it?
No.
What was it?
I wanted to try like real British food, and I kept I was like, I want fish and chips. I want to like do the thing, but yeah.
No, beans on toast. Come on, Kraken.
I had beans on toast in Kenya, and it was delicious. All right, I will defend beans on toast and the full English breakfast till my dying breath.
What was I going to say?
Refried bean toast is really good too. Refried beans, cheese, and some pico de gallo.
What was I can't remember what it's called because it's got a different title in the US. But there was a film over here called 51st State. It had Samuel L. Jackson in it, and Meatloaf played a gangster. It was about a drug kingpin, and Samuel L. Jackson's character formulated a new type of drug and went to the UK. And he said he was hungry, and then Robert Carlyle's character bought him some fish and chips, and Samuel Jackson said, "What the fuck did they do to this fish? Batter it to death!"
It's delicious.
It's the best thing ever. I don't eat seafood. I'm not a great seafooder, but we just fry all the fish out of it, so it's just
delicious. I was going to say, Gary, you'd be pleased. I came home from my long day yesterday, and my neighbors were out having a party for the Raiders game. And I went inside, and my husband had two quesadilla style hard tacos with a plate of rice and cilantro. And he was like, the neighbors came over and brought dinner. I was like, I live next to the best Mexican restaurant that's open sometimes. Like, this was the greatest thing to come home to. This is a home cooked food. Like, yeah.
I've never heard that Meatloaf sing that. I'm a huge Meatloaf fan. I get a lot of stick for that from people, well, everybody who knows me. But no, Meatloaf, awesome.
The food or the person?
The singer, yeah. Never tried the food, so I couldn't tell you.
Meatloaf can be made good. You just don't slather it in ketchup.
That's about the only way to make it okay.
Yeah, there's lots of other ways. Like, I make a decent meatloaf, but I put spices and flavoring and things in it. So
meatloaf is just beef mince, isn't it? Just kind of stuffed together.
It's a cake made of meat.
Yeah, you put egg in it and breadcrumbs, and I like to sweat onions and put them in and do some other flavory things with it, and it's pretty good.
Oh, I'll have a look. Thank you.
I'm afraid to click anything that Kraken sends my way just because he's so mischievous, that Kraken. He or she. I actually don't know what Kraken's gender is. That's why I keep just saying
a good Kraken, so you know. Cool. Right. Well, on that note, being as we've just said that Kraken is actually a good Kraken, and pure and innocent and sweet and kind and caring and nice, obviously.
All the things. We love you, Kraken.
Or him.
Yeah. The jury's out. We'll get back to you. So yeah, I think what we're deciding as a group here is we're going to lay off the official quote-unquote episodes until 2024, simply because Jen can't make it. I won't be able to make it.
Yeah.
Everybody else will have plans at some point or another. And with that much of the team down, yeah,
it just doesn't really make sense to try to like patchwork it together. Yeah, with you and Jane and the holidays, and
especially being as this is the very start of something. If we were up and running, and it would be different. But being as we're trying to actually get into the flow of something, it seems a bit silly to start now as opposed to in a few weeks.
Yep.
But yes,
but hey, if you're catching us on YouTube, please follow us here on Twitch. We will be back up regularly in 2024. We've all got individual things going on, so you can follow us at our various handles. This is usually the part that Dan does. I'm not sure why I'm steamrolling him.
Hey, steamroll away. I'm,
But yeah, I'm at Robots and Magic on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, robotsandmagic.com if you need social media marketing, ad copy, or anything else. Eggnog is not disgusting. I will fight you, Kraken.
I don't like it. I've never had real eggnog, so I couldn't tell you whether or not I like eggnog or not. But Starbucks do an eggnog latte, which I live for. I wait through the entire year for an eggnog latte. It's thick, custardy, really sweet, just I live for it.
Actually, the only way I like eggnog is with bourbon in it, so I don't drink eggnog anymore. I take it back. Yeah, spiked eggnog is great. Gary, where can people find you on the internet if they should find this on the YouTubes in the futures?
So I can be found with George the Dragon at the Duck Webcomics, or I still have a DeviantArt account. Again, you could probably find George the Dragon there, along with some of my other art and explorations.
I just remembered that I have a DeviantArt account. I don't know if I have access to it anymore.
Yeah, I go there every now and then to show people my artwork from 10 years ago.
That's rad. I should check back in on DeviantArt. I miss DeviantArt.
And you can find me on YouTube at the RPG Therapist or at monimouthcounselling.co.uk.
Yeah.
So, happy Christmas, happy holidays, happy. When was Hanukkah? Was it yesterday? Today?
I forget when Hanukkah starts.
It was this month.
It was this month.
It starts and ends this month, I think.
Yeah, I don't know when it's. Yeah.
I don't celebrate. I'm sorry.
I presume we're either in it or just before it, and we must be in it by now. Hanukkah starts on the 8th. Thanks, Kraken. So yeah, happy Hanukkah to everybody who celebrates it, and various holidays of import to anybody around the world. Enjoy the weather or not.
I'm rowing back. I was checking my Art Deco calendar. There we go.
Of course.
But the Kraken told us what Hanukkah is.
Happy Christmas, guys. Kraken, thanks for joining us. Please keep an eye out. We will be around, and we will definitely be up and running beginning of the new year. So keep an eye out and tell all your friends about us because they really want to check us out.
Yeah.
See you later. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye, Internet.